Fear of failure phobia, or as I like to call it, FOF. Now, there's a lot of people who suffer from FOF, including myself. Even Eminem had it. If you ever watched Green 8 Mile, we see him so afraid of fear of failure that he just leaves it all the way into the end until eventually he just lets go. And when he lets go, that's when he can finally just be in his flow state and just achieve this thing to the best of his ability. And that's so inspiring because we all want to do that, but we struggle to. We go through life being so afraid to live because of this underlying fear which controls most of our actions. And this underlying fear is holding us back from our greatest potential. We want to do that thing, but we're so afraid of actually attempting it because of this fear of failure we have. We want to start a business, but if we fail, then it attacks our identity, our ego, that maybe we're not smart enough to start a business, or maybe we're not good enough to start a business. We want to ask that girl on a date, but this fear of failure holds us back from it because we're afraid that if we get rejected, maybe we're not lovable. You want to ask your boss for a pay rise, but if he says no, then that attacks your ego and your identity that, oh, maybe I'm not worth the money, maybe I'm not worth the employee I'm actually worth paying for. And it's this fear of failure that leads to you questioning your self-worth. We've built ourselves this fragile self-esteem, so every time we fail, our head drops, we slump our shoulders. What was the point? I was going to fail anyway. We tell ourselves that, but did you really try? And I mean really try. Did you even think of all the things you could have done better? Did you spend countless hours trying to improve and do this thing to the best of your ability? Or did you spend it about 30 minutes and try it once, but oh, this is pointless, I'm not smart enough, or I can't do this? And I'm convinced the reason why we think like this is because of the school system. We're like extremely punished for if we fail or we don't get a certain grade. We're just like classed as dumb, and we're like sectioned into parts like, oh, bottom set. So you have to do really good just to get into the higher sets. And if you don't, then you're stupid, or you're a failure, or you're classed as stupid if you're in set 8. And all these things put so much pressure on us that we're so afraid to fail, and it just leads to all parts of our life. We think it's the same thing, but we're not in school anymore. We don't have to worry about these things. And if you are in school, then I feel sorry for you because I remember that pressure. If you don't get a grade 9 in GCSEs, you're not going to be able to do good in life. Like, it's stupid. The other thing as well is the internet. We see all these people the same ages as, same gender, probably just as smart as us, who are getting these overnight successes, and it's putting these expectations on ourselves. But what the internet doesn't show, and what these influential people don't show, is the countless hours they put in to get to this point they are. We see all these people with $1 million businesses, and we think, oh, they just got it overnight, they came up with a good idea. No, the guy who made Starbucks, this is what's helped me as well. I remind myself this very often. The guy who made Starbucks got his idea rejected 242 times. 242. You need to realize that everything you see as a success in life has took countless hours, failures along the way. They haven't just done it once. Obviously, there's a few people out there who've just done something once and became famous or viral or made $1 million business. But these are the rare exceptions, and you're most likely not going to be that exception. You need to accept this fact. Realize that it's going to take hard hours, it's going to take blood, sweat, tears, sleepless nights to get to their point, but it'll be worth it in the end. Because what's the alternative? You're sad, depressed, because you can't get to the point in life you want to be. But whose fault is that? It's you, because you're so afraid of failure that you're not actually trying to change this for yourself. And I know it's mentally exhausting to put yourself through these things, what cause you immense amounts of fear, but it's worth it. You need to understand that when you discipline yourself to do these things, your mind changes, you iron your mind, and you're able to come back and do these things again. And I believe this is the main reason why people become depressed, and this is why I hate social media, is because, like I just said, we see all these people with more, they have more, they have everything more. And then we look at our lives and we think, oh, my life's crap. What people don't understand as well is it's the journey towards working is the happiest part. It's not the end. It's not the end of the journey when you've achieved it. It's the journey along the way. And that's the best part, but people don't like to hear that. Now, eventually, you will let go of this fear of failure. For a bit, you'll be at like a motivational period, as I like to call it. And you'll eventually just like go in and just try it with your best heart. You put all your heart into it, but you go into it with horrendous values. You'll value yourself on, if I post this YouTube video what I've just spent 5 hours on and I don't get 1,000 subscribers, then I'm a failure. If I spend a month building my business and I don't have 10 grand in profit, then I'm a failure. All these values are things that which are out of our control. People would argue, well, they are in your control, you just have to work hard. But you can't control if someone buys your product. You can't control if someone views your video. You can manipulate it, sure, but It's out of your control. But if you use the value of, oh, I'm going to achieve this to the best of my ability. Even if I do fail, I'm going to try again. I'm going to spend as much time and put all my effort in as much as possible. These values you can control. But if you're basing your value on the metric of, I need a certain number to get success, then you're going to become miserable because that's something you can't control. And as humans of this earth, when we don't have something which is in our control, it depresses us. The thing about this value of a number for your success as well is a subconscious value. When you have this subconscious value, the way to cure this is you need to bring it from your subconscious over to your conscious and make this a conscious value which you can actually control. That is the main point. If you can't control the value, there's no point. If I went to a party and my value was be the most popular guy at the party, okay, well, I don't know who's coming to the party. There might be someone more popular at the party. I can control how people think about me. How do I even measure if I'm the most popular guy at the party? Like, you've chose terrible values, and the only way to cure this is to be humble. Realize that your values are terrible. Realize that you need to go into this task with failure in the back of your mind, but accept it. And in this world, there's limited things which are in our control. So don't make your life harder by making more things out of your control. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to failure is, like I said with the Starbucks thing earlier, 242 times he failed. And I want you to remind yourself, I want you to use the same thing I use. 242 times he failed to get Starbucks approved. You can't expect to become a success overnight. That standard is just something which is completely out of your control. Let's just use a baby. When that baby tries to start walking, it doesn't fall and then think, oh, I'm not good at walking. I'm just going to stop and I'm going to sit down for the rest of my life. No, it gets back up. It starts walking. You need to do the same. Stop thinking that, oh, because you failed something once or twice, even 3 times, even 10 times, that you're not good enough for it. You just need to keep coming back, highlighting where you went wrong, highlighting where you could have improved, what you need to change, tweak. You can do anything we put our minds to, man. Stop being afraid of failure. It's holding you back. Let your ego run out the door. Mantra I used to use a lot. I made it for myself. Goes like this: be courageous in the fear of adversity and doubt. Use these feelings as fuel to build sleeves between my mind and soul, to build self-unity for myself so I can achieve anything to the best of my ability. Because if I know one thing, that if I put my mind to it, I can achieve anything.